Hi, my name is Courtney Cullen, and this is my final exam for interpersonal communication. An interpersonal conflict is an expressed struggle between at least two interdependent parties with incompatible goals, scarce resources, or interference from the other party in achieving their goals. Recently, I had a conflict with my boyfriend. We often have mini arguments over petty things that do not follow the conflict process. When we fight over such silly things, such as housework, the conflict pretty much goes from a source to a beginning and then skips right to the end because we forget about it and just move on without discussing it further. Our recent conflict, however, was about our spending habits. We had just created a budget, and when neither of us had followed it, I got angry. I blamed him without taking into account my own spending, which led me to believe that we did not have the same goals. Scarce resources, which was our money, also added to the source. The beginning was when I became frustrated because of the sources. I expressed my frustration in a not so helpful way. This brought our conflict to the middle stage, which was an active conflict. We began defending ourselves while blaming the other. When each of us cooled down, we brought our conflict to stage 3 and formed a resolution. We managed our conflict by discussing a plan to better manage our money, and we apologized and let the conflict end. Question 2 asks what your primary conflict management style is, and for me, I think I have two. I use criticism and defensiveness. Defensiveness is the tendency to deny the validity of criticisms directed at the self. Criticism is the expression of complaints about another party. Like most people, I don't like to admit my own faults, so I often use defensiveness so that I don't have to. Once I stop being stubborn, I usually give in and admit my faults, but then I usually use criticism. Both of these conflict management styles create more problems than problem solving. Instead of using these styles, it would be more beneficial for me to use avoiding, compromising, and collaborating. Avoiding is a strategy of managing conflict that involves ignoring or failing to deal with the conflict. Compromising is a strategy of conflict management in which both parties give up something that they want so that they both can receive something they want. Collaborating is a strategy for management conflict that involves working towards a solution that meets both parties' needs. Using these methods would help me because if I avoid the conflict, at least at first, I will cool down and will be less likely to blow up since I can have a bit of a temper. Compromising and collaborating both practice working together rather than working against each other, which obviously can be beneficial during the conflict. I met my friend Cammie during my freshman year of high school when we played on the same field hockey team. Our initiation of relational escalation was when we all played the name game on the first day of field hockey practice, or tryout. In the experimenting stage, we both joked about how hard tryouts were that first day and how out of shape we were. The intensifying stage occurred when we became partners in the drills we were doing and began talking more to each other and more about ourselves and getting to know one another. We began integrating when we decided to exchange phone numbers and get ice cream after practice one day. We became best friends in the bonding stage. By senior year, we were inseparable and talked about everything together. We ended up even going to the same college and being roommates, which may not have been the best idea. We began getting tired of each other and asserting our independence in the differentiating stage of relational de-escalation. We began getting annoyed with each other and stopped talking about everything together in the circumscribing stage. In the stagnating stage, we both knew we were growing apart, but neither of us said anything. In the avoiding stage, we began spending less time together and more time with other people. The terminating stage was when both of us transferred to different schools and stopped talking pretty much altogether. We talk once in a while, but our friendship is nowhere near what it used to be. Question 4 asks us to discuss one of our peers who impacted us the most in one of their posts. I would have to say that Serena Hilden's 2 truths and 1 lie post impacted me the most. I couldn't believe that she spent 6 months living all the way across the world in a place that was so unfamiliar. I thought it was very brave as well as devoted to be willing to do that for her husband. I admire her willingness to make such a big change. The question that I came up with on my own is as follows. What is non-evaluative feedback and evaluative feedback, and which type works best? The answer to this question is that non-evaluative feedback is a reply that withholds assessment of what the speaker has said or done, whereas evaluative feedback offers an assessment of what the speaker has said or done. Neither of these types of feedback is right or wrong, and they both work equally successfully in different types of situations. If you think the speaker is talking to you in order to let out frustrations or vent, then they are probably not seeking your opinion, so non-evaluative feedback would probably work best in this situation. You can do this by asking questions, repeating what the person has just said in your own words, or by showing that you are paying attention and offering support. When someone is looking for your input, evaluative feedback is the method to use. You can do this by providing praise or constructively criticizing them by offering advice on what can make the problem better.